We've all heard the importance of setting aside time in our calendar to work on the business, on the things that develop and move the business forward exponentially over the course of time, rather than the things that just maintain and keep the business afloat. But oftentimes I find, and I've been guilty of this myself so many times. I find that we don't follow through with it. If we put that time in our calendar, when we get to that time, it's like squirrel happens, right? We're like looking around anything else that we could put our energy to, and there might be a list of 50 things to do, and only one thing that you really should be doing. But instead, we focus our energy on the 49 other things because they're quicker, easier. We can get them done faster. So if you can relate to this at all, of like, man, I have it in my calendar to get this stuff done, but I never do it. I'm going to suggest to you a handful of reasons why that might be happening. So the first reason why this might be happening is because we all have a finite amount of willpower. There's only so much willpower we have each day, and usually by the time we get to the end of the day, we've already expended most of it. So if your time to work on the business is in the afternoon, I would suggest to you just a simple tweak. Put that in the morning instead. Make it the first thing you do before you check email, before you get into anything else in the day that could derail you. Make that the very first thing you do in your business day, is to work on that project or that task. My dog wants to be a part of this video, I suppose. A second reason why we oftentimes don't follow through with that that time in our calendar is because we just feel overwhelmed. We're looking at a list of things that we want to get done, and it's the entire list, it's the entire to-do list, rather than just the list of things that are most important for that week. So get clear on, rather than having one list that you're working off of, have two different lists. One list is your to-do list with everything that you could, that's on your mind to get done, and one list is just what you're focused on for that week. You see, when you make progress in something, like let's say you had three things to get done that week, and you get one of them done during that time, that feels good. But if you're looking at a list of 50 things and you got two things done, that's like nothing. That's like 4%. So sometimes we feel like the goal is, I need to get more of this list done. I have this sense of urgency to check off as many things as possible so I feel productive. Make that list smaller so even getting one thing done feels productive. The third reason why we oftentimes don't follow through with that time on our calendar is because we simply have no plan. We show up to the time. I've done this so many times, so many different instances. I show up to that time in my calendar and it says work on the business. And I'm like, okay, but what do I work on? I know that this is important, but I have no plan of what to actually work on. So make sure that before you get to that time, you've already thought through, well, what is the project that I want to work on during that time? I know it sounds silly, but how many times have we been guilty of that, of showing up and not having a plan? The fourth reason why we oftentimes don't follow through with this time on our calendar is because the project or the task that we're trying to get done, it's too big. Saying something like revamp blank process in my business, it's too big. So ask the question, is the reason I'm not following through with this because the objective I have during that time is so big, I don't even know where to start. Sometimes the key is just by simply just to ask the question, you know what if that first what if that next block of time I have in my calendar to revamp this process or to redo this part of the business, what if the only goal in that time, for that first time, was to come up with a plan for revamping this part of the business? So break up that larger goal, that larger project, into smaller steps, and then look at it in phases. What if you didn't have to get it all done this week? What if you could get phase one done this week of this project, phase two, phase three, phase four, in the following and subsequent weeks? It may take you 4, 5, 6 weeks to get that done, but breaking it to smaller pieces will make it less overwhelming and make it easier to follow through. The last reason why I think that we don't follow through at times is just fear. And I wrestle with this too. this fear of, what if I get into this project and I realize I'm inadequate? What if I get into this project and I realize I don't know what I'm doing? What if I don't have a good answer for this? Um, Sometimes we hit our upper limit, and we get to a point where we tell ourselves, like, um, I just want to stay safe. I get scared trying to grow beyond where I'm used to being. And I just want to encourage you, if any of these things, if you relate to any of these things, ask yourself, what's one thing, based upon these five potential reasons why you're not following through at this time in your calendar, what's one thing that you can do the next time you come to this point that will help you follow through with what I would say is the most important thing in your calendar, uh, to guard, and to protect every single week?